Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be talking about the AP classes I took, the scores I got for my exams, and all that fun stuff. If you can't already tell, this video is way longer than it should be. I went in debt when I really shouldn't have. So if you don't want to watch this video, I'm so sorry. This is my first YouTube video. I don't know what I'm doing. But I mean, I think I gave like good points, and like I said my scores in the end, so you could just skip to the end, honestly, just to see what I got. Also, I don't know why I was talking so slow. I think I was just nervous and didn't know how to act in front of a camera. I still don't, so sorry. First, we're going to look at the AP classes that I took. So I started taking AP classes my junior year. So I took AP Calculus AB and AP Chemistry. And then my senior year, I took AP Calculus BC, AP English Literature and Composition, AP Microeconomics, AP Physics 1, and AP US Gov and Politics. So in total I took 7 AP classes. Okay. So let's start off with like the curriculum and all that kind of stuff and how hard the classes were. And then in the end I'll share my scores. So let's start with AP Chemistry. This class was very tough. There's a lot of material to cover, and in my class we didn't get to cover everything. And you have to constantly practice all the concepts or else you're not going to remember them. There's a lot of equations. Even though you have a cheat sheet for some of the equations, there's still so many that you have to remember. But as long as you memorize the equations, you should be fine. Generally though, like the subject itself is pretty hard, especially if you're not very good at like basic math and stuff like that. Like I know I'm horrible at basic math. Like I can't do like algebra for the life of me, but I got through it, but it wasn't fun. It was basically an easy A, but unfortunately my teacher's not there anymore. He actually got fired, so I mean, maybe that's a sign. Maybe if I had a better chemistry teacher, things would have gone a lot better. But like from talking to like friends who go to other schools and stuff, this class is generally like a harder class, like a harder AP exam and class altogether. Like people struggle in like regular chemistry or like chemistry honors, like not even like AP. So like if you're gonna take chemistry, just make sure you have like a good foundation. Make sure you're ready to study, take a lot of notes. Lecture notes are going to help you so much. Example problems are going to be your best friend. Do as many example problems and AP exams as you can, because otherwise you're not going to pass this exam, trust me. Next one we're going to talk about, so again, these are the two that I took sophomore year. So the next one we're going to talk about is AP Calculus AB. This class is pretty easy for me. Generally, I'm better at math subjects, even though I can't do like basic algebra. Math is like my best subject overall, like throughout like my whole education career. So this class is like fairly easy for me. I know a lot of people that struggled, but if you do the homework that your teacher assigns, you're gonna be fine. It's super easy to grasp once you get like the basic concepts. I know like a bunch of schools make you take pre-calculus before, so make sure you get that foundation, especially in trig, because it's really gonna help when you take AP calculus. And if your school doesn't require pre-calculus like or any kind of trig before, you should like start to like learn the functions on your own beforehand, like before you go into the class. So AP calculus is a long course overall. There's a lot of material to cover, but I think this is like, for me, this is one of the easier exams that I took. Even though I took BC, this one was a lot easier for me. So just do your homework, review your tests, practice. FRQs are the best thing to practice. Like there's no other way to study for FRQs besides doing example problems, because they usually use the same type of problems every single time. Maybe like one or two will be different, but other than that, you're gonna get the same kind of problems no matter what. I mean, it's math. They can only make so many different variations of a problem, but they have question types that they ask every single year. Like I know like volume is one of them, and then all the whole multiple choice is basically derivatives, integrals, and then like a bunch, and then a few like little things. But if you know your derivatives and you know how to do your integrals, not even like the memorization ones, just like basics on how to do derivatives and integrals, you're gonna be fine. It's not a hard test to pass, but the curve is about 20%, I believe, like every year. This exam probably has like the biggest curve besides like BC calculus. That's because the subject itself is so hard, so they base their score standards on like how college students perform. So if you perform just as well as a college student, even if you're not like getting 100% on every single test, or you're not getting like 5s on all your mock exams, like depending on how they're grading that test that year and how difficult the test is, the harder the test, the bigger the curve. So you're gonna be completely fine. Just make sure you know your stuff. Basically, all of AB calculus is just derivatives and integrals and how to apply them. Okay, so we're gonna move on to, I guess we should talk about AB calculus BC now. So now BC is a combination of both AB and BC is 3 chapters plus how many chapters were in AB. So it's a little more difficult, but this one was a little more difficult, and I struggled a lot. In AB, I kind of flew by, but in BC, it really stumped me. There's not a lot of things to learn, but the concepts themselves are very difficult. You have to be prepared to practice a lot on these problems and do a lot of different types of these problems, because they're gonna really hit you hard on the exam. The exam was super horrendous. Like I thought like I was gonna get a 1 by the end of it. It was pretty brutal. So make sure you know your stuff. I mean, I don't suggest like studying the night before. There's no way to study the night before. Just prepare throughout the year and you're gonna be completely fine. You just need to make sure that you're getting the concepts down. Now for AP literature and composition, this class is more like, I think most people take this their senior year. I did. I didn't take AP Lang, and every single person who was in that class had already taken AP Lang. So I was like out of the blue, and trust me, like you can do it. Like don't be scared to like sign up for an AP class if you were in like the year before that everyone else was in. You can do it no matter what. This class was a lot easier, I think, than AP Lang. I didn't want to take AP Lang because I knew I wouldn't do well, but literature to me is a lot easier. I like reading a lot more than writing. Even though you write a lot in AP Lit, it's more reading based and more discussion based, and I kind of like that. The essays were actually pretty easy. So there's the multiple choice, and then there's 3 free response questions. They're each an essay. So first there's a poem prompt, a prose prompt, and an open essay based on a book that you read throughout the year that applies to the prompt. Open essay was literally my favorite essay to write. You can just discuss the book however you want. That's the good thing about like language and literature, is that they grade based on how you interpreted the book, and if you can give evidence to your claims. That's all you need to do. The multiple choice, you just need to make sure that you read efficiently. That's all I can say, is that practice multiple choice, practice writing essays all year. That's all we did. Oh, so the essay scores from 1 to 9, and I got 6s throughout the entire year. Like it did not budge, but I think that's a good thing, because if I got 6s on each of my essays, then I was fine. Like consistently I got 6s and I was completely fine. Moving on to microeconomics. So this class, I was kind of scared because I take economics and government a semester each, so they're not like year-long courses. So my school, we did it a little differently. We switched every month, and then the last month we switched every 2 weeks. It was a bit difficult, but this subject can be very easy. This is probably the easiest AP class I've ever taken. It can be the easiest AP class you ever take. Honestly, just learn how to graph. The graphs are super easy once you get them down. Just memorize them. Know your key terms. That's all you need to know. There's literally nothing else. The concepts are almost common sense. I really suggest that if you're good at memorization and kind of like common sense reasoning, you should take this class because it's gonna be an easy 4 credits for you if you go to like a UC or Cal State or any school that accepts AP credit. This is the class for you if you want to get like a social science elective credit out of the way for a GE. Like, this is perfect. Moving on to physics. So this class was kind of a joke at my school. It was literally like, it was a joke. My teacher never taught us really anything that we needed to know on the exam. All we did was warm-ups for half an hour and then lecture for the rest. And the lecture was not even her explaining or teaching. It was her just showing slides that she copied from the textbooks, basically. But yeah, this class was a joke. I can't really give it any advice. I can talk about the format a little bit. So the format of the test is, I believe it's 50 multiple choice, and then there's 5 at the end where you pick 2 answers. So it's A through E. The FRQs were worded a little weird, but even me not knowing anything, I kind of knew what they were asking. I think if I had like better knowledge of it, I would have been able to answer a few of those. But like, I asked my principal for advice on the exam, and she asked another AP physics teacher from another school, and she said what students do a lot to study for this exam is they buy the, I believe it's 5 Steps to a 5 and the Princeton Review. Those were the most suggested for this. So yeah, that's all I can say about this exam. Now to AP US Gov and Politics. So this exam this year, we were the first class to have a set list of required documents and cases. That's not to say that they didn't include other documents and cases, just these ones for sure we had to study. So for this one, definitely learn these documents. These documents are going to be your Bible for like the next, I don't know how long, semester or year. I don't know how other schools do it, but you need to study these things. You need to read them, highlight them, outline them, whatever you need to do. The cases, you need to know them front and back. I made like flashcards for each case, and you have to know the people involved, the verdict, and the question for the court. This was probably like the hardest AP class that I took this year for me personally. This year I got like consistently D's on every single test that I took, besides like the first one, which was like basic government, like the branches, and it was horrible. Like, I thought like this class, like I thought I wasn't gonna make it. We outlined every chapter of the book that was required for the exam, and I was beat after every single one. I don't type my notes. I retain more when I write, so I personally like to write my notes. But it was brutal. Like, if you're up, this is another class where I didn't take any other history classes before, so I didn't take APUSH, I didn't take AP Euro or World History or anything like that, so I was not prepared for this type of workload. But the workload is a lot. Again, I was like one of the few who didn't take APUSH and stuff like that, so I was like I wasn't trained for all this writing, and the essays at the end were probably the hardest for me. So the format of the exam, I believe, again, there's like 50 multiple choice questions. Those were fairly easy. Those were the easiest part of the exam for me. And then the FRQs, there's, I believe, 3 short answers and then 1 essay at the end. The essay was the hardest part for me, but the short answers are pretty good. We were the first ones to get this type of exam, so they changed their grading curriculum. So instead of like looking for full paragraphs for each answer, they're looking for keywords to make sure that you know what you're talking about, and that's all you need. So really, they made this exam a lot easier. Based on my score, I believe it's a lot easier because I struggled a lot throughout the year, but I still came out okay. Like, I'm here. But yeah, I think that's about it about this class. There's so many videos online that are so helpful for this exam. For economics and government especially, they have the best videos on YouTube. For this exam, two to three nights before, I wrote every single term. It was the hardest thing that I've ever done. It was like 200-300 flashcards, but it was definitely worth it in the end. When I showed up to the exam, I knew what these people were talking about. I knew exactly what was happening. It was, honestly, it was the best decision I've ever made, was to do those flashcards. So like, just do things that you know works. Especially like memorization classes, do flashcards. But there's Quizlets with like each and every term that you need to know for AP Government, so use those. There's so many resources online, especially for AP Calculus. Use Khan Academy. He's really good. I mean, he may not be good for other subjects, but like I personally can say that he really helped me in calculus, so use him for calculus. So I'm gonna start with my scores. So I think I'll go from lowest to highest. My lowest score, of course, was AP Physics. Again, it was AP Physics 1. This is supposed to be algebra based. This is supposed to be the easiest one. I got a 1. Yeah. The class was a joke. I'm sorry, I don't have like any good advice. I drew on my FRQs and I wrote my grader a letter saying that I was sorry I had to waste this time grading my test. Okay, moving on to my second lowest. AP Chemistry. Fun fact, I passed all my mock exams. Just, I didn't pass the real one. Like, I don't know what happened that day. I remember walking to the exam thinking I could get a 3 and walking out I was gonna get a 2. Like I said, we didn't even finish all the curriculum we were supposed to get through. I mean, there's people in my class who got 4s and 5s. So it was possible. I wasn't fully prepared. I know the people who got those scores were like on top of it. They read the book ahead of time. They came into class already knowing the concepts, and they asked questions every time. So chemistry is a good subject to like ask a lot of questions, because it's kind of like calculus. You can only make so many variations of questions that they're gonna ask the same type of questions. You just need to make sure that you know every concept, because they're gonna apply everything. They're gonna throw everything at you at chemistry. Okay, so the next two have the same score. So AP Lit and AP Government, for both of those I got a 3. I'm honestly pretty surprised, especially in literature, because my essay scores were so low compared to other kids in my class. And in government, like I said, I got D's on every single exam besides like the first one. Like these classes, these kids who were taking this class had already taken an AP class in this kind of subject, and I hadn't. I was like not prepared. In my regular language arts class, we wrote like 2 essays throughout the whole year, junior year. Meanwhile, the kids in AP language were writing like 2 essays per week. Okay, that's an exaggeration, but you know what I mean. I came in unprepared, totally unprepared. But I still managed to like work my way up. The kids I talked to who had taken the classes before didn't pass this one. So I feel genuinely happy that I passed and that all my hard work paid off. So just make sure that you're doing your own thing. Don't look at the people around you. If you know you can do it, you can do it. There's no backlash in taking AP classes senior year. I mean, you might think that you're gonna lose time, but this year I had like the least amount of homework of every year, and this is the year I took 5 AP classes, so definitely worth it. All you need is a C in the class. Colleges are not gonna see your first semester grades or anything like that, and even if you do bad, your school should allow you to drop the class if you get like a C or a C minus. But yeah, I think like there's no harm in taking AP classes your senior year. You should just try to get your credits if you plan to go to a public school. Like this is the best route you can go. There's people at my school right now, UC Irvine, who have enough credits coming in. There's sophomores, there's juniors, there's a couple graduates. Basically, they got enough credits to be considered upperclassmen, basically. Also, dual enrollment in a community college is super great if you don't want to take the AP route. Okay, moving on. AP Calculus AB is my next one. I got a 4. Like I said, this class was pretty easy. I didn't study for the exam at all. I walked in there thinking I was gonna get a 4. I walked out getting a 4. All year I worked hard, so the night before I slept like a baby. I already knew I was gonna pass. It's honestly the best thing in the world to walk out of that room knowing you did your best. So many people don't pass. I think like 50% of people don't pass most of these exams. So, I mean, never get down on yourself for getting a 3. any score is good. Even a 2 is good as long as you're not getting 1s consistently. You tried your hardest. That means that you know your stuff. So I mean, keep going no matter what scores you get. And then finally, my last 2 exams, AP Calculus BC and AP Microeconomics. I got 5s on both of them. Yay, my first 5s. I was so excited when I saw these. Obviously, I said AP Calculus BC. I thought I was gonna get a 1. It was so hard. Like I thought I completely failed that. Definitely never imagined myself getting a 5. Also for my AB sub score, I got a 5 as well. And microeconomics, I really liked this class. It was super enjoyable. Like I said, I recommend microeconomics to anyone. I mean, honest to God, easiest AP class. Well, maybe not AP class at your school. I don't know how they are, but definitely easiest AP exam you'll take. Just take the class. It's only a semester long at most schools, so I think it's pretty worth it. Even if you don't pass, like, you're gonna have a good time, hopefully, if you have a good teacher. If you hear good things about good AP teachers, just take the class. Teachers are nice. They're there to help you. Like, they're not there to be mean or put you down. If you're a freshman and you're thinking about taking AP classes, maybe try 1. I hear AB Human Geography is a good class to take like your freshman year when you're just starting out. They don't want to start out freshman year, they'll start out sophomore year, maybe take a AP History kind of class. Some even take like AP Chemistry. If you can take AP Chemistry your freshman year, like, you're God. Like, go. Like, you go. I couldn't even do it my junior year. But yeah, I started junior year, so like, I mean, you can start whenever. Like, whenever you feel ready, just go for it. Like, nothing's stopping you. But yeah, that's all for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.